Going through a divorce in Alabama? You probably have a lot on your mind, from splitting the house to dividing retirement savings. Who gets what can feel overwhelming? Unlike a strict cut everything 50-50 rule, Alabama courts use equitable distribution. That means assets and debts are divided fairly, but not always equally. Let's dive into how this works so you know what to expect. Think of your property as two piles, marital and separate. Marital property is everything you and your spouse earned, bought, or acquired together during the marriage. This can include your family home, if bought during marriage, cars, bank accounts, investments, retirement accounts, and even businesses you built together. Separate property is what one of you owned before the marriage or received on your own, like an inheritance or a gift for just you. Separate property. Anything owned by one spouse before marriage stays with that spouse. For example, a house or car you already owned on your wedding day remains yours. Inheritances or personal gifts given only to you during the marriage are also separate. You keep them. Marital property. Everything earned or bought during the marriage is generally split. For instance, if you and your spouse bought a vacation home together or contributed to the same retirement account, those are marital assets subject to division. Knowing what belongs in each pile is the first step. Separate property usually stays put, while marital property gets divided. Equitable distribution in Alabama. Alabama doesn't automatically split everything 50-50 like some states do. Instead, the court aims for a fair outcome. In practice, fair can mean different things depending on your situation. According to Alabama law, the judge will look at the whole picture to decide a fair split. This means one spouse might get a little more of some assets and the other gets more of others, rather than a straight half and half. The idea is to balance each person's needs and contributions so the final result feels equitable to everyone involved. Have you ever wondered how the court defines fair? That comes down to several key factors, which we'll cover next. Factors the court considers: contributions. This includes both financial contributions, like who earned more money or paid the bills, and non-financial contributions, such as homemaking, childcare, or helping with a spouse's business. Did one spouse stay home and raise the kids while the other worked? That matters. Length of the marriage. Generally, the longer you were married, the more everything gets blended together. Long marriages often result in a more even split, since both people contributed over many years. Earning capacity. The court looks at each person's ability to earn money after divorce. If one spouse is highly skilled or has a lucrative career while the other stayed home, the judge might give the lower earner a bit more of the marital assets to help balance things out later. A child care and custody. Who will have the kids most of the time? Courts consider custody arrangements because the custodial parent may need a bigger share of certain assets or funds to support the children. Example, if one spouse. For instance, a spouse with serious fault to misconduct. While Alabama allows for no-fault divorce, the judge can consider marital misconduct, like adultery or abuse, if it affected the family's finances. Squandered marital money on an affair, the other spouse might get a bit more to even things out. Note: Alabama law focuses on financial fairness, so innocent marital misconduct can have an impact, but just being married longer typically matters more than who was at fault. Other factors. The court may also think about your age, health, and the standard of living you enjoyed during the marriage. Health issues might receive more support. Basically, the judge tries to be fair to your situation. Courts weigh all relevant facts to reach a fair outcome. It can seem subjective, but having documentation, like pay stubs, bills, or proof of who paid for what, helps ensure the judge sees the whole story. Dividing debts. You've heard about splitting assets, but what about debts? In Alabama divorces, debts work the same way as assets. Marital debts are divided fairly. Think of marital debt as any obligation taken on during the marriage for the benefit of the family. Common examples include mortgage loans on a family home, if bought during marriage, credit card balances used for household expenses or family vacations, car loans or personal loans taken out while married. These marital debts are usually shared in the divorce settlement or by court order. For example, If one spouse wants to keep the house, that person might also take on the mortgage debt and possibly compensate the other spouse in other assets. Debts incurred before marriage or after separation are generally separate. So if you ran up a credit card bill on your own before tying the knot, or your spouse penned a loan account on their own after yo-rated, those typically stay with the person responsible. Sometimes couples make deals. One person might take on more debt in exchange for keeping more assets. For instance, one spouse could agree to pay off a big chunk of debt, so the other can have more of the cash or other property. Everything is negotiable, but keep in mind that the court wants an overall fair split. No matter your situation, remember, Alabama courts strive for a fair outcome, taking into account your unique marriage and contributions. If you're going through a divorce, make sure to keep records of your assets and debts and consider talking to a family law attorney. They can help protect your rights as you work out the division of your property. What do you think? Have you gone through a divorce in Alabama, or know someone who has? What questions do you still have about property division? Share your story or thoughts below. Your comment might just help the next person dealing with this.